Okay, so welcome to Warblog. Yeah. So anyway, I restarted this video because of something reason I won't bother explaining because you'll never see that video that I did wrong. So the second retelling my little incidental anecdote. I was been thinking about buying this SBI game from eBay, and I was really sort of getting quite excited about buying it because I haven't owned a board game for 3 decades, maybe 2 decades, definitely 3 decades. And I was getting quite excited about it. It's the Arab-Israeli Wars, like 1960, 1970. There's 3 periods, and it looks really interesting, just mainly because I could get a good overview of how someone else has done it, and then maybe reverse engineer it into how I do it. But I haven't bought it yet because basically I just don't have that sort of time. I just don't have the sort of time to sort of think about and learn a set of rules and then to play each turn through for however much time that takes. And it's sort of similar to, I've spent quite a bit of time on this first Congo War. I'm quite excited about it, and I've been thinking about it and looking at it and sort of thinking, okay, blah blah blah. Down here it's quite challenging. They definitely don't have the advantage down here. But anyway, the thing is, it's too big. I just don't have time, especially 15 minutes to sort of play that. And the same with this Eastern Ghouta. Although it's a smaller board and a smaller map, I still really don't have time to sort of play it. And that's where these little games, I love them. It's just so simple. And it's like, I've got time to play this one. I don't have to do the board setup. I don't have to do anything. So I'm playing this one as opposed to the others. The reason I decided to start it again because the artillery was incorrectly configured. But so basically, the background here is that the ISIS units have been carrying out suicide attacks, car bombs in Pakistan. They killed about 120 people, including military personnel, and many hundreds are injured. And so Pakistan has basically crossed the border across the Khyber Pass into Afghanistan to essentially take out these units that are doing that. One of the things I sort of think is quite interesting about this is that there's only one article I can find on the internet about it. It's almost as though it didn't happen. But it's also the Khyber Pass, and the Khyber Pass is kind of iconic. But I never really knew where it was or anything about it. Well, I just heard it. It seems iconic, but never knew where it was, and so now I know. And they are sort of pretty much crossing the Khyber Pass. So they start off basically with artillery fire. Now they've only got to take out all these hideouts. Now they're all sort of they're not all defended, and I think it's pretty much going to be a fairly easy victory. That's how I've sort of. So 0.1 damage. That's not much. No damage. Well, the artillery's not much good. Okay, well we can take out that hideout and that hideout instantly. It's got 1 movement. They're mountain trees, but they can only move 1 hex, just like anything else almost. This was a sort of reinforcement unit for the ISIS side. Okay, we do have some air power, so I'll bring that down on this. 0.2, so it should be at 0.3 damage. It's so small. That would be probably a 1-to-1 attack against that, so I'm not going to do that just yet. Okay, so it's now the ISIS turn. Well, if he stays there, he recovers, so he's going to do that. He didn't actually get any damage, so he's okay. We've got these units here. Now, the question is, what do they do? Now, in an ideal world, they might just sort of run away. That might be what ISIS players should do, but for game's sake, I'd maybe not do that. let's see what we can actually do. Now the thing is, do we want to actually defend these objectives? I mean, that's sort of the idea. I'm sort of tempted to engage, but I'm not sure whether there's any point in engaging. Because, you know, although we're quite tough, ISIS are quite tough in the mountains, they still really don't have much offensive, although they are irregular, so there will be a 5-3, but there will still be a 9, so it will still be 1-2. So even if they are irregulars, we need to get all 3 of them onto that. Okay. Okay. The other thing, this artillery is not going to be very good at all, ever. No, 0.3 damage. If he'd moved, that would have been good, but he's now at just 0.3. Let's bring in this air power. Another 0.3, so that's 0.6. We still haven't even got over 1 on that yet. That's interesting. This artillery can't actually move in the mountains. I thought maybe that might be the case. Mountains have always been a bit of a bugbear for me, because I can never figure out whether or not things should actually move through them. You know, like wheeled units, and maybe I should put some paths in there or something. That doesn't matter, they're stuck, aren't they? Can't move. Okay. I'm going to leave this there and that there, because I want to take that, start taking that objective. And to be quite honest, I'm really not sure what to do with this unit, because we're now sort of facing 3 ISIS irregular units. What I'd maybe like to do is to sort of push him down this way to help attack this. But I think I'm going to push him there. To tie up these units. So now we've started to contest these units here, these places. So they're at -2, so a few more turns and they'll be done. Now the ISIS player, what does he want to do? Well, could possibly move into this hideout, move down here. I really don't want to do that. Okay, so it's Pakistan. So they've fully recovered now. So the artillery is pretty useless unless we get some big hits. No, another 0.1. And nothing. So that 0.6 was about as good as it was going to get. .1. So he's going to have 3. turn. It's the ISIS player. I think he's going to try and get onto that. But to be quite honest, I think what I might try and do here, see what we can do against that. They should be going in as irregulars. So here we were 9, we were 15, so it will be a 1-to-1, but with 20% on top of 15, 18, that should be a 2-to-1, possibly. Let's just give it a go. I mean, even at a 1-to-1, it's sort of, it was a 1-to-1, 18 versus 12. Presumably because he's, maybe it's times 4 in the mountains, I didn't know. I got that right, but I just got that wrong. So it's a 1-to-1. Got a good result, but it was just an exchange. Okay, we're still bashing our head against this unit. I mean, there's nothing that's going to shift him. 0.25. Maybe I should give the Pakistans a few more units. So that's 0.85 now. So he's going to be worth times 4. Here we were 4. So it's going to be a 1-to-2. .15. Let me come back on my supply lines there, or just try and, I could have gone that way, you see, but I don't think I want to do that. Nearly got these, nearly destroyed them. Okay, well the ISIS player, they're going to rest those units to recover their depressions. And I'm going to leave that unit there to recover his depression as well, although I'm now 1 step behind these because I moved. Ah, 0.45. And a 0.9, so that should be 1.35. But he's now entrenched, but at least that will roll over 0.35 to next turn. These will both be destroyed by next turn. .35. Okay. Destroyed. That frees up 2 units. The ISIS player, I think, is going to he recovered, didn't he? So it's not brilliant. I think I'm just going to leave that line like that. Okay, we're coming up to a break. It's coming up 15 minutes. 15 minutes of just moving around like that. That's a tough game. It's tough. Tougher than I thought. See you in a bit. So I'm back. during the interlude, which you probably won't notice and not time warp, I rejigged the initial scenario. I haven't changed this one. I think the rejigged one would be better to play. There's a couple of, I think there's one extra ISIS unit. There's another Pakistan mounted infantry unit, but there's also a Pakistan mechanised unit, which will only be allowed to go up the road, and the artillery has been moved to Torkham, or at least East Torkham, and has been given 6 range, because up there they wouldn't be able to, 1, 2, 3, 4, they wouldn't be able to actually hit these targets. 6 gives them a bit more range, so they'll be limited to the road. And the mechanised unit will also be limited to the road, but at least give some control over it. So anyway, but that's the new rejigged version. Also, I gave the air power 50 turns. At the moment, I've only got 10, so I'm probably going to run out of air power soon. So, it's the ISIS turn. I'm not sure they really want to do anything. I mean, at the moment, the Pakistan, I can almost see a line of power across here, and that's almost halted against this irregular line of ISIS defence. Okay. He's now got 0.35. Oh! That's one, I don't know, that's called gambling, I think, when you sort of, the odds come back and you've got something fantastic. Well, we haven't seen that yet. 2.05. That is really, that's what artillery is about, really. Sort of those, you just keep pounding at it, nothing, and all of a sudden, the effect that you want. Because he's getting weaker and weaker, the effect of the air power is, I think, probably going to be a little higher. So that's 0.8, although I'm not sure what it was before. So he's now significantly depressed, 3.2. Now, also what's worth noticing, these objectives have been destroyed. They're fairly different. Usually objectives are captured, so they go from one side to the other, but when they're destroyed, that's it. So these units have destroyed these objectives. So we move him into there, I think. Do I want to try over here? Possibly not, but what I am going to do, let's just put everything into one go. It won't do it in one go. The artillery will go in first, and then this will just go in. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Maybe I should have used my air power here. Well, that wasn't brilliant. But at least he's... Oh no, he didn't get depressed because he's irregulars. So that's going to put us a turn down. So he's not going to move because he wants to recover. He wants to recover, but he's not going to recover that much. And they're basically doing their job. They're holding this line up. I mean, I can't really get around them. I certainly don't want to sort of leave this gap open and then let the ISIS player come down here. I'm not sure why they would want to, but they are actually doing quite a good job of blocking this unit, because I mean, you know, to get there is, I don't know, I think that's quite well done. Okay, well, just put him into position first, try the artillery. It's down now to 2.2. 0.6, it's getting it again. So we can do here with this artillery. What's his depression? Depression 0. 0.25. See what we can do with the air power. Nothing. Okay, I'm going to recover here. But here, I think I'm going to go for it. 1-to-1. Exchange. Okay, well that's that. I'm going to recover over there. It's a real sort of stalemate. I wasn't expecting it to be this tough. The ISIS player can't attack, and it's these sort of situations I quite enjoy. Not so much the stalemate, but they can't really do anything. They don't have the power to attack, but we don't have the power to attack them. It's that sort of where neither person has the ability to attack each other, which is a little more realistic, I think. It means that you've got to sort of manoeuvre and wait and rely on things like artillery to actually come around and do something. Now, I mean, he's got the option to move from there, but it's just going to follow him. So I think he's going to stay there. What's he on now? 1.8, so he's recovering. He shouldn't be on 1.8, there's something wrong now. I thought I'd sorted that rule out, but look at that. That was artillery. 3.3 damage. Okay. I've got to call in this air power here. .4. Well, puts them to 0.5. Attacker retreat, that's even worse. That's interesting, doesn't look like they retreated. I'll have to look into that. .3. They got an attack and retreat, but they didn't suffer any of the consequences. Just didn't do anything. So I'll have to look into that. Because if they did, they would have been down more than 1, because they were already on 1. Pretty sure of that. Just need a good roll. It's going to be 1-to-1. An 11. They got an attack or retreat, but it didn't do any effect. Let me have a look. Okay, I've had a look into it, and the attack and retreat rules is going to be difficult. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this next 6 minutes, and then whatever's left, I'm going to leave it. And then I'm going to use this game to sort of fix that, because what I generally do, I'll set it to, no matter what I do, it's an AR result, and then start figuring out why that's happened. To be quite honest, it's a neat little game. I like this. It's a stalemate, which is sort of quite nice. I'm going to end that turn. Now it's the ISIS player. Now he's getting beat up there. So the question is, should he retreat? I think not. So I don't want to move any of these, because I don't want him to take any of these training camps. No damage, nothing. .05. Wow. Okay. Another exchange. Just to sort of make it clear that the reason the attack and retreat doesn't work is because I added all these extra rules in for retreating. I don't know what the problem is, but I think it's because I'm sending the new sort of criteria. It says who is the. It's basically sends over the name of the player. So it's not as much the name of the player. It says either attacker or defender. But the rules are written for the defender retreat. So when I wrote them, I was always thinking defender retreat, and what's probably happening somewhere is it's getting stuck up on the fact that the variable pass is the attacker, not the defender, and so it's probably saying something like find everything where there's an attacker where there's not an attacker, or something like that, as opposed to everything where there's an attacker where there's not a defender, or something like that. You know, so I think that's where it's got twisted. So obviously it's all gone a bit pear-shaped because of those results. So I'm just going to, and I've only got a few minutes left, so I wouldn't mind playing this again actually. Exchange. The Pakistanis have been so unlucky, I think. But this is definitely what I'd call a stalemate. I can't move the artillery. There's nothing happening there. There's almost perfect stalemate. I mean, I could do something, but you know, there's pointless attacking into any one of these because he's going to be worth 8. And each one of these is going to be worth 8. For him to attack me, it's, you know, so I'm going 3 to 8, and for him to attack me, it's going to be 5 to 12. Or 5 to 24. Wow. Well, the ISIS blade's not going to move again. If they can hold out till 15 minutes, I think I'm going to call it a draw. So although this unit here has taken a real pounding, I think they can get their 2.75. .35. Defender retreat. They got it. Doesn't have any movement to get in there. We're not going to do anything there. And I'm going to recover there. Well, seeing as the end of the game, they're going to move back in. This is where the fine minutiae of maths comes into play. I mean, it's pretty much a stalemate. I think I'd like to play it again, definitely, with the attack and retreat rules working, at least, and also with the new setup variables, so we'll see. Cheerio! Okay, I'm just going to play a continuation because I've figured out the attack and retreat issue. It was a slight issue, but it wasn't quite what I was thinking. Essentially, if you're attacking irregular units, you don't retreat after combat. The only consideration we had there was that they should have had their movement reduced to 0. So just to make that clear, hold on a sec. what I've done is I've set it to automatically be attack or retreat. So I'm going to move this one unit and he will get an attack or retreat result regardless. So we're sort of out of the playing game mode now, just into open analysis. So he got an attack or retreat, and he got a depression for it, 2 depressions, which is what you get on an attack and retreat. So, but he didn't retreat. So if we move on to, say, I keep getting this. I'm sure the record button never used to be in the way. Got it down here now. Okay, so if I now do an ISIS attack on this unit, I'll get an attack or retreat. And as you can see, he's retreated to there. Scared me for a minute. So it is all actually working. It just goes to show how easily I forget. There are a few problems with the game, but when you can't remember the rules, it can be even more compounding. So that's it really. I don't want to play any more of this one, but I am actually going to swiftly play it again, because I think this is a fun game, and I love the small ones. It's taken quite a bit of time, you know, as it is, but that's what I like, you know. I'd still be doing the first turn on the first Congo War. Anyway, I'll see you later.